Hi there, this is Bill Walter from the MUSX178 Music and Sound for Visual Media, hanging out in my studio here, as you guys can see. And I'm just going to make a short video for you to give you a little idea of what's going on in the class. So the Music and Sound for Visual Media is a great class for doing all the sound for any type of visual media. And we get into a lot of, kind of a big overview of the class would be music, dialogue, sound effects, ambiences, sound design. So a little bit more about music, going in depth with music. If you're a composer, you can have a chance to write music for an existing film. If you're not musically inclined, you can edit music to an existing film. We also get into music categories, how to categorize music based on emotion, instrumentation, tempo, the energy of the music. We also get into tempo manipulation of matching the timing, arbitrary timings of a film, which can be useful. We get into something called elastic audio, which can stretch the music, the timing of the music as well. We'll also talk a little about music licensing, music cue sheets, which are useful for placing music in films. We also deal with orchestral sample libraries as well, so we can kind of with samplers in the box inside your DAW, you can make great sounding soundtracks for for the music for your film. Then we'll get into dialogue. So everything from, which is basically called location sound, so setting up boom and lav mics, and what you need to know to get good location sound, primarily recording dialogue. Then once we record dialogue, we get into the DAW and edit dialogue. Also, how do you mix dialogue? What are the editing techniques with making good, clean sounding dialogue? So we might get into some compression, EQing, mixing, things like that. Going over to sound effects, this would be more of sound design. How do you record sound effects on location? How do you label them? How do you manage huge sound effect libraries efficiently and quickly to do a quick sound design? How do you layer sound effects? That can be important as well. And again, what are the naming conventions of dealing with sound effects? Moving over to cutting ambiences and backgrounds. A lot of layering goes on there for realism in creating the background sounds and time and place of your sound design. And what is sound design itself? We'll get into a little bit of sound design theory in terms of how you conceive of music that exists in the sound world, or creating all the kind of the creative aspects of sound. How do you deal with sound dramatically and emotionally? Not just music. It's a little bit different than music. Going back to the samplers, we'll get into other more abstract samplers. Here's a picture of Omnisphere here. And we're also going to be using heavy Pro Tools. That is the DAW that's used in the industry today to do lots of sound design and film sound. And we'll talk about how you set up your Pro Tools session. We'll create a template. How do you label all your tracks? How do you do the workflow of a session? What are the naming conventions used in the industry, such as dialogue, music, and sound effects? We'll talk about mixing. How do you get good levels? What is the proper level for a film mix? Talk a little bit about surround mixing, and how do you do speaker calibration? How do you get your loudness appropriate so it plays back in the theater? We'll also create stems. And the final project will be usually a re-skinning of the audio of an existing film. So you'll have a chance to get a professional level portfolio type of work out of this class, where you will create a finished product. So that's about it. That's the overview of the class. If you have any questions, please email me at bwalter at dvc.edu, and I'd be happy to add you to this class. This class will start 2 days from now, and it runs Thursday morning. So it'd be great to have a few of you film students and other interested parties interested in this class. So again, my email, bwalter, that's WOLTER, at dvc.edu. Hit me up, and I will get you added to this class. Thanks a lot, guys.